Can you allow your mind to be quiet? Isn't it difficult? Because the mind seems to be like a monkey, jumping up and down and jabbering all the time. Once you've learned to think, you can't stop. And an enormous number of people devote their lives to keeping their minds busy and feel extremely uncomfortable with silence. When you're alone, say in a doctor's waiting room, which may be very uninteresting, nobody's saying anything, there's nothing to do, there's this worry, this lack of distraction. I'm left alone with myself, and I want to get away from myself. I'm always wanting to get away from myself. That's why I go to the movies, that's why I read mystery stories, that's why I go after girls or anything that you do, or get drunk or whatever. I don't want to be with myself. I feel queer. I feel like, you know how it is when you run your fingernails up a blackboard on a cold day? Creepy. So, well, why do you want to run away from yourself? What's so bad about it? Why do you want to forget this? Why do you want to become absorbed? Because you are addicted to thoughts. And this is a drug, a real dangerous one. Compulsive thinking, going on and on and on and on and on all the time. It's a habit. As you keep telling yourself where you are, who you are, what's going on, how good it is, how bad it is. Reading the newspaper of your mind. You know a lot of people, they get hold of a newspaper, and the newspaper reads them, they don't read it. Newspaper is designed to read you. Typographers, the layout people, very carefully calculated how to carry your eye from one end of it to another. So there's a difficulty about stopping that activity. And you really have to stop it if you want to be sane. Because if I talk all the time, I don't hear what anyone else has to say. And then I'll end up in the situation of having nothing to talk about but my own talking. Or so in exactly the same way, if I think all the time, I won't have anything to think about except thoughts.
Every thought that arises becomes a me, and you think it and you're in it. And so most people are dragged along all day long by this mind stream, one thought after another. And within that mind stream there is a mind-made sense of self, a me, consisting of past memories and experiences and things that my mind has identified with and that contribute to my identity. They're all thought forms. For example, my possessions, my knowledge, my experiences, or what people have done to me, what I have done to people. Things that whatever you identify with and then hang on to in your mind becomes a me. And that was really the self that that night I recognized as not really me. So there's the mind stream, there's identification with the mind stream, and there's the possibility of stepping out of the mind stream by accessing the present moment. Now, to most people, the present moment almost doesn't exist, because what they're really interested in is the next moment, or the one after that. So they live always towards the future. They live towards the next moment. And unconsciously, they regard the next moment, the next point in the future that they need to get to, unconsciously they regard that as more important than this moment. Not realizing that the future moment that they so desperately want to get to, tonight, tomorrow, whatever, or in any activity, wanting to get it out of the way as quickly as possible, needing to get to the end point, on a small scale, on a large scale. Yes,
for example.
Yes. Yes. And so they don't recognize that the future has no existence. So when you always live towards the future, you live your life trapped in a conceptual reality of thought forms, which assumes a greater significance for you than the immediate reality of life, which is always now. Because your life consists entirely of the present moment. And to most people, that's, if you truly realize the significance of that statement, your entire life consists of the present moment. Your life is never not this moment. Even when you remember the past, you can only remember it now. And when you think about the future, you can only think about it now. But people live as if the present moment were an obstacle that they need to overcome in order to get to some better point, which never arrives. So that's a mad way to live, and it makes living hard. It makes living into an effort.
Okay, so what is depression and how do you get rid of it? If you're depressed, it means you're looking within yourself for answers, and you can't get that. How did I get it? I didn't find it in psychology books at all. Here's how I got it. I sat down and I said, what is depression? I said, I don't know. How can I know what it is? But a depressed person always seems to have a low self-image. Do you know what that means? I'm not getting anywhere in life. I'm not respected. 3 girls left me, whatever it is. It's a low self-sufficiency to start with. Now, instead of looking for the girl of your dreams, you try to make her. You know what that means? Educate her in whatever way you can. Doesn't mean it'll work perfectly, no, but it'll work better than you doing nothing. Do you understand that? Therefore, depression is not only loss of self-image, they have none. The guy finds himself in the Marines and he wants to be successful in the Marines, and that can't bring success. Unless they give you medals and everybody pats you on the back. That's your self-image. I made it, you can say. Or an actor that does a theater actor that acts before an audience, a live audience, and they applaud after. That makes him feel good. A movie, he doesn't know. If he works in a movie, he doesn't know that people are going to applaud. Do you understand that? Therefore, he could encounter depression. Anybody that does any routine, a job, a jeweler, a plumber, an artist, a painter, if they don't get reward for their painting, like you're a genius, you're good creative, that makes them go on painting. But when people say, what the hell is that supposed to be? If they paint because they like to paint, that's much better if that occurs. If you go for a walk because you like to go for a walk, not because the doctor told you to go for a walk every day, at least a half hour. But if you don't do it because you want to do it, if you go out for a walk through the country and you smell the trees and you look around and you're pleased by that, do it. If it depresses you going for a walk, you have to restore the self-image. In most instances, there is no self-image. So you have to give them a self-image. You have to talk about a lot of things. The person says, gee, I didn't know that water became ice suddenly. I thought it was gradually it became ice. Well, whatever it is, if you expose them to different branches of science and they begin to find answers that satisfy them, their self-image grows. But if you make a Lutheran of a person and says, have faith in God, He'll look after you, if you put that faith in somebody you can't see or touch, it may carry you through. Because you know there's somebody up there that loves you, even though nobody does. That there is somebody up there. That helps some people. But it's not genuine help. Do you understand? Because he says to the minister, what did I do wrong? If you believe in right and wrong, you can get depressed. I must have done the wrong thing. It isn't the wrong thing that you do. It's a less valid thing that you do. It's a less appropriate thing that you do. Do you know what I mean? Not wrong.
I think we ought to understand depression because the depression is a descriptive term, right? A person is depressed. It has also become a clinical term. He is suffering from a depression, right? It's diagnosis like diabetes or pneumonia. Now, I think that there is a feeling of depression if there's a loss. A person has lost a family member, right? A person has lost his fortune. Those are realistic feelings of grief. It's a grief kind of depression. Again, antidepressants and Prozac are not going to change those, right? However, there is something within our system that our chemical system does affect the way we feel. And if we have certain disturbances in our neurohormones, right, it changes the way we feel and can give us a feeling of severe depression and despair. Right? Now, that can be brought on by anything, and sometimes out of the blue, maybe hereditary, right? Or a great deal of stress, insomnia, pressure can produce a biochemical depression. Now, if it turns into a biochemical depression, that's when antidepressants can help. So I think we have to be able to distinguish between the two. I can be depressed, but not have a depression. Right? Strangely enough, one can have a clinical depression and not be depressed. Right? And it'll show itself is an inability to feel. Right? Now, I believe that when suicide happens, it comes from feelings of despair, and I believe that despair is almost invariably due to the biochemical change, where the person looks at a blackboard and thinks it's a window and sees the world as hopeless. Right? So I think we have to be able to determine what is it that we're feeling and why, and what is correctable, and how should it be corrected. Trying to do psychotherapy with a person who's got a biochemical depression, right, is like trying to tune the television set when it's not plugged in. Right? So I think we have to understand what the nature of depression is and be able to approach each part of the depression with what is appropriate for that.
Someone who feels really depressed, raise your hand. Give him a microphone, please. Give him a hand. He's really depressed, for God's sakes. What's your name?
Bob.
Bob, where are you from?
Seattle.
That's why you're depressed.
I know. All the rain.
All that rain, darkness. You're ruining this depression thing by laughing.
That's why I know.
Yeah, please go back to that depression state. Thank
Okay.
you. Are you really depressed right now?
Yeah, I just, my wife just filed for divorce yesterday.
I understand.
So.
Are you sure there's not a part of you that's not ready to go? Yay!
There might be.
Yeah. I thought there might be a mixture in there. I saw it in your eyes.
That's what I came here for.
That's what you came here for. So let me just ask you this. On a 0 to 10, how depressed are you?
You know, when I moved out and then I wasn't able to say goodnight to my kids every night, that was pretty high.
Yeah.
9, 10.
Yeah.
You know,
I get it.
only not selfish enough to take my life, depressed.
Good. Good for you. I can see you're not a selfish man. So what's happened is your life conditions don't match your blueprint.
Right. Far from it right now.
And he feels out of control, powerless to change it. Am I right about that or no?
Right. Absolutely.
So that's where depression comes from. Depression comes when your life doesn't match your blueprint and you feel powerless to change it. Well, just do it for me first. Get depressed for me. You can't smile. That eats up the whole depression. I need you to get like at that level 9 depression, okay? Because I'm not good at this and I need you as a role model to teach me. You nod when you're at 9. Go to 9.5. Now, how many saw his body change to get to 9.5? How many saw it? What did he let go of? He took in air and let it all out. How many saw that? So you let out all the air, you let out all the energy, you let out all the life force. Now stay in that place and tell me, what do you have to focus on? We've seen the physical pattern. What do you have to focus on to be depressed? Tell me what you're focusing on right now.
Separation from my kids. No power over, no control over it.
No power, no control over it. And what do you say to yourself while you're in this state to be at a depression at 9.5?
It's my fault.
What else do you say to yourself? Say it the way you say it when you're most depressed. Say it in that same tone of voice.
I really up.
Now let me ask you a different question. Have you ever had a great orgasm?
Sure.
It was that good, huh? You ever had an experience where you felt so alive and proud that you owned yourself and you owned her and you lit her up in ways she never dreamed of? Ever have one of those experiences?
Yeah, sure.
I want you to close your eyes and remember that moment just for a second in depth. And I want you to breathe the way you were breathing then. Now, at that point, what were you focused on?
Her reaction.
That's right.
Her reaction.
Her reaction. And at the peak of that experience, what did you say? And say it the way you said it then. Were you spiritual? Like, oh God, or like, what did you say? What did you do? You're not feeling depressed right now, are you?
I'm trying. Not right now.
Are you feeling depressed right now?
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's not depressed right now, ladies and gentlemen, not at all.
Exactly.
Now, I want you to remember that what that feels like in your body and just breathe it and show me. That's it. There you go. Look at that physiology. Is he a different man there? Yes or no? His entire body. Look at the way he is. Even he's got his hands in his pockets like you. Yeah. When you think about that situation, what do you focus on to feel that 10 of power, that 9, 10 of power?
Accomplishment.
Yeah. When you feel that strength, you were able to make that woman more than happy, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Look at the swagger now on his shoulders. Yeah. Oh yeah. Balls are back on. Shelf is closed. So right now you've shown us you can go from depressed to empowered. How fast, my friends? How fast? How fast? In order to do it, does he change his physiology? Yes or no? A little or radically? Which one? Does he change his focus? Yes or no? Does he change his language? Yes or no? What did you say at the peak of that experience? You never answered my question. You thought I forgot.
Oh yeah. I said I'm awesome.
Yes. What did she say?
She passed out.
Is the relationship as it was, as husband and wife, is that over now?
Yes.
Yes. So what does it serve to remain sad and depressed about it? Do you love her?
Yes.
Does she love you?
I don't know.
How would you know if she loved you?
She does. I'd say she does. She cares that I'm hurting.
She cares that you're hurting.
Yeah.
So one way is if I stay in pain, I can get a little love from her.
I don't think I'm interested in that.
Not anymore, now that you got your balls back.
Exactly.
I agree.
Exactly. 10 minutes ago I was.
Yes, I understand.
But now, no.
Yeah, I was here. I saw.
Yeah. Right.
But not anymore.
No.
Who was that little pussy boy I was talking to earlier?
The depression.
Give him a name for me so I know who he was.
Little Bobby.
Little Bobby.
Little Bobby.
Little ballless Bobby.
Yes. Not Big Balls Bob.
Let's have a hand for Big Balls Bob, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Now, you're going to sit down in a few moments and your life won't have changed. Will it?
If I change the meaning, I can change the feeling and the emotion.
That's
yeah.
right.
So yeah, my life can change right now.
Give him a hand, ladies and gentlemen.